Today, we exchange documents containing all sorts of important and even confidential information. Acrobat provides powerful means to secure this information for both yourself as well as for your entire workgroup. In this chapter, we'll take a look at how you can secure your documents with both password as well as certificate security. When you're done with this section, you'll be able to lock your PDF files for one or more individuals, as well as to use your digital ID to sign PDF documents for approval and other legal purposes. Everything seems to happen on the internet these days. You can order things online, you can buy things online, you can sell things online. Thousands of transactions occur every minute on the internet. You can do almost anything online. Almost. But some transactions are actually more difficult to do electronically than in person. For example, how do you prove your identity? How do you sign a contract? These problems have been around since the beginning of e-commerce. Usually the answer revolves around taking a digital contract, printing it on paper, signing them manually, and then faxing them back or mailing them back. That's one of the reasons that Adobe created the digital signature in Acrobat. A digital signature is an electronic version of the familiar ink mark we've been using for centuries. You use signatures for a variety of things: to prove your identity, accept terms of an agreement, to approve a draft of a document, and to acknowledge the receipt of a delivery, among other things. A digital signature can be used for all of these purposes. A digital signature can be created in many programs, Acrobat included. The first step in the process is to create a digital ID. The ID is at the heart of the signature and is used to verify who you are. You can create an ID in two ways: by using a third-party service or by creating a self-signed certificate. Third-party certificates can be obtained from companies like VeriSign and GeoTrust, among others. Third-party certificates may be required for specific types of signatures, say for legal documents and real estate contracts. For internal corporate workflows, a self-signed certificate should be sufficient. To create a digital ID, launch Acrobat and click Tools. On the Mac, you'll have to have a document open in order to access this option. So go ahead and open any of the PDF files from the Chapter 7 folder. Open the Sign and Certify panel and click More Sign and Certify. Choose Security Settings. Click the first option, Digital IDs, and click Add ID. If you have an ID from a third-party company, it may be stored as a file on your hard drive. Or you may have received a roaming digital ID that you can access via a web server. Some companies use IDs that are installed as an external device like a jump drive or a dongle. We're going to create one from scratch, so choose a new digital ID that I want to create now and click Next. Your ID can be stored in one of two places: as a PKCS digital ID file or in the Windows Certificate Store. The PKCS method is used by most web applications. The Windows Certificate Store makes your ID available to most Windows-based apps. Mac users will not have this option. For this lesson, let's choose the PKCS method and click Next. In this dialog box, you should enter all the critical information about who you are, including your name, your organizational unit or department, your organizational name or your company, your email address, and your country. Some of the fields may be filled in by information in your preferences. In Western Europe and the United States, you probably won't need Unicode support. Next, you need to choose your key algorithm. The higher algorithm you choose, the higher level of security you'll have. But the file may not be compatible with older versions of Acrobat. Choose 1024 if you want your files to be compatible back to Acrobat 7 and 8. Choose 2048-bit for compatibility with Acrobat 9 and 10. Let's go ahead and choose 2048. Next, you should choose the reasons you'll be using your digital ID: for signatures, data encryption, or for both. Let's choose both. When you're ready, click Next. In this window, you'll select the location of your ID file. I prefer to put this file somewhere I can find it quickly. If you're creating a permanent ID, save it to a place where you'll remember where it is. For this lesson, let's just save it to the desktop. Acrobat usually picks up the name of the file from the information you entered in the previous dialog box. When you're ready, click Save. This window also asks you for a password. The password you use for this file should be tougher than your normal password. This is your ID. It has to be unbreakable or at least unguessable. Typically, a password longer than 10 characters is very hard to break. For these types of passwords, I like to use a passphrase. A passphrase is an easy-to-remember set of words which you can use to prompt you for the actual password, such as Mary had a little lamb. Use the first letters of each word in the phrase and you'll get MHALL. To make this passphrase harder to guess, switch some of the letters for numbers or special characters. For example, you could use the @ symbol for the letter A. Use the number 1 for the letter L. You can make the password stronger by switching between upper and lowercase letters too, but make it easier to remember by using the capital letters for like Mary and lamb. To make the password stronger still, we should make it longer, like Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. As you can see, this passphrase is relatively strong. But since this is my passphrase, you should probably make up your own. Some of the things you should never do are to use your birthday or home address, or the name of your wife, kids, or pets. Use a phrase that's meaningful to you so you don't forget it, but it shouldn't be something that you framed in a picture on the wall of your office. And most importantly, don't write it down and don't share it with others. Type it again to confirm it. When you're ready, click Finish. If you make a mistake, just go ahead and type your password in again. Once the ID is finished, the next step is to export it to a certificate file so you can use it in Acrobat as well as share it with others. Click the Export button. You could email it directly to another individual, or you could save it to a data file on your hard drive where you could send it to one or more users later on. Go ahead and select Save it to a file and click Next. Navigate to your desktop and save the file. For your actual certificate, give it an obvious name. The name of the file is not important as long as it has the correct extension. And click Save. When it's done, click OK to clear the dialog box. Finally, you should add your new certificate to your list of trusted identities stored in Acrobat. This will allow you to use the digital ID to secure documents and to check the validity of your signature as well as those of others. To manage your trusted identities, close this dialog box. Click More Sign and Certify in the Sign and Certify panel and choose Manage Trusted Identities. Click Add Contacts, Browse, navigate to your desktop, and locate your certificate. Go ahead and click Open and Import. This will add your certificate to the Trusted Identities now. Click OK, and you'll see your name in the list. You can also request certificates from others you work with by clicking this option. An email will be sent out automatically to ask your contacts to return a digital certificate. Some certificates may be stored on your network server. To add them to your trusted identities, do this. Click Add Contacts, Browse, open up the project folder, and navigate to Chapter 7. Here we see certificates from 2 of our employees. You'll only be able to enter one at a time, so go ahead and click the first one and click Open, and then browse back to Chapter 7 to get the second one. Once you have them both loaded, go ahead and click Import. When they're imported successfully, click OK, and now you have 3 names in our list. If you receive a certificate by email, it's even easier to add it to your trusted identities. Close this dialog box first, and launch your email application. Navigate to your inbox and locate the email that has the certificate. Double-click on the attachment. Acrobat will launch automatically and load this dialog box. Click Set Contact Trust. This document will automatically be used for signed documents or data, but we can also use it to certify the contents. Click OK. Acrobat will automatically import the certificate. Click OK and click Close. To check to see that the certificate was imported correctly, click More Sign and Certify and click Manage Trusted Identities. As you can see, the new contact was added automatically. Self-signed certificates and digital IDs are an easy way to establish a secure workflow for your company. You can use the certificates and IDs to verify the authenticity of a document, to signify your approval, to sign contracts and proposals, as well as to secure documents. In the upcoming lessons, we'll explore different methods for using your digital ID and creating a secure PDF workflow. In the last lesson, you created a digital ID and a digital certificate file. Whenever you need to sign documents, you'll use your digital ID to create the signature. When you send a signed document out to another person, that person should also have a copy of your digital certificate. In fact, you should send your certificate to everyone you work with before you send out your first signed document. It's like having a copy of your signature card at the bank. When the bank receives a check with your name on it, they can compare the signature on the check with the signature they have on file. If you don't have a digital ID, go back and complete lesson 1 of this chapter. If you do have a digital ID, open the file, signature.pdf from the Chapter 7 folder. This file is the final design of our latest ad campaign. It requires your signature for approval. To sign the document, click Tools and open the Sign and Certify panel. Click Place Signature. A dialog box appears explaining how to place a signature in the document. Basically, you're going to draw a box. Click OK. Notice a signature line at the bottom of the ad outside the crop marks. You can actually sign anywhere in the file unless someone puts a signature form field in the file. Go ahead and draw the box right over the top of the signature line. This dialog box will then open. If you have more than one signature, go ahead and select it from this pull-down menu. To complete your signature, all you have to do is enter your password. But before you do, let's customize the appearance of the signature first. By default, signatures will appear with your name in block letters like this. But you can also incorporate pictures or scanned images. Some people scan their actual signature and add it to the file. For this example, let's add the company logo. Choose Create New Appearance from the Appearance pull-down menu. Let's add a title to this. We'll call it Vinny Totali Logo. Click Imported Graphic and click File. Browse to the Chapter 7 folder and choose JPEG from this pop-up menu. Select the logo and click Open. When the logo appears, click OK. You can choose any graphic file type that's compatible with Acrobat. You can also customize other aspects of the signature block by selecting or deselecting any of these options, and format the text properties by selecting Auto or assigning them left to right or right to left. You can also choose how you want the digits to be displayed. When you're done, go ahead and click OK. To finish the signature, you need to enter your password. When you're done entering your password, click Sign. Let's save the file in the Chapter 7 folder and call it Signature Signed. And click Save. The signature block will appear at the bottom of the page. If you receive a signed document, you can check the validity of a signature against the certificates you've already loaded into your trusted identities. To validate a signature, click Validate All Signatures from the Sign and Certify panel. Click OK to validate the signatures. When Acrobat's done validating, go ahead and click OK. As you can see up here, the signature is valid. When a document is signed, you can't make any changes to it. Open the Content panel and select Edit Object. Choose any object on the screen and try to move it or delete it. You'll see that you can't. If you need to edit the document, you'll first have to remove any signatures. You'll only be able to remove signatures that you placed yourself. To remove a signature, open the Sign and Certify panel again and choose Clear All Signatures from the sub-menu. Click OK to apply your changes. Acrobat will report when it removes the signatures. Click OK to continue. When the signature is removed, an empty signature field will be left behind, but this won't prevent you from editing the document now. Using a signature to approve a document is just one application for your digital ID. In an upcoming lesson, I'll show you how to use your ID and the IDs of your coworkers to secure a PDF document for an entire work group. The simplest level of security you can apply to your document is password security. Acrobat provides two types of password security, an open password and a permissions password. The open password can lock the document to prevent people from opening it. The permissions password can be used to secure the contents and structure of your document to prevent a user from changing them. Open the file, password.pdf from the Chapter 7 folder. To add password security to your file, select File, Properties, and click the Security tab. Select Password Security from the Security Method pull-down menu. Acrobat provides backward compatibility for password security in case you have people who are still using older versions of Acrobat. For this lesson, let's select the default Acrobat 7 and later. Depending on what level of compatibility you choose, your encryption level will be increased or decreased, and the types of information that you can encrypt will be different. The next thing you need to choose is what level of encryption you need to select for your documents. The first option encrypts all the document contents. The second choice encrypts all document contents except the metadata. This includes the file titles and author names. This allows you to search and find a file, although it doesn't allow you to see what's inside the actual document. The third choice encrypts only the file attachments. This means that the actual contents of the PDF file are searchable and viewable, but you won't be able to search or open the original Word or Excel file that created the PDF file itself. In most cases, I choose the middle option. This allows me to search my hard drive to find specific documents based on the metadata like the title and author. The next thing you need to decide is whether you're going to have an open password or a permissions password or both. Although Acrobat offers both an open and a permissions password in this dialog box, you're not required to use both. It's perfectly okay to use one or the other. But if you do use both, you can allow users to open the file while still protecting the contents and structure from changes. The strength of the password depends on several factors. Usually, the longer the password, the harder it will be for someone to guess it or break it. Passwords longer than 10 characters are nearly impossible to break. You can make it even harder by mixing in numbers and upper and lowercase letters. One of the changes in Acrobat 10 is that now the program actually rates the strength of your password as you enter them. For this lesson, we'll just enter some simple passwords. Use harder ones for your own documents. Select the open password and enter ABC. You can see that Acrobat considers this a weak password. Now select the permissions password and enter 123. By default, the permissions password automatically turns off both printing and does not allow changes. If you want, you can allow people to print your document at low resolution, or give them the permission to print at high resolution. Let's keep the printing turned off. In the same respect, you can allow people to make certain kinds of changes. For example, you can allow them to insert, delete, and rotate pages, fill in form fields. You can allow them to comment on the document, fill in form fields, and sign existing signature fields. Or you can allow them to make any changes except extracting pages. Whenever I create a fillable form, I like to choose this option. It allows the users to fill in the form, but protects the actual fields and the data within the form from changes. In this case, we're going to go ahead and choose none. By default, when you password protect a file, you prevent people from being able to select and copy both text and images out of the content. By checking this option, you can allow them to do this. I usually leave this unchecked. Finally, this option enables people with disabilities to be able to access your file using assistive devices. In most cases, you'll want to leave this option checked. When you're ready, click OK. Acrobat will ask you to confirm your passwords. The first password it will confirm will be the open password. That password was ABC. Click OK when you're done. A dialog box appears explaining that Adobe products respect the use of the passwords in the file, but that other applications may not. Click OK to continue, and then Acrobat will prompt you for the permissions password. Go ahead and enter 123 and click OK. This dialog box appears, indicating that the passwords will not be applied until after you save the file. Click OK. Click OK to apply your settings. The passwords won't be activated fully until you save the file. Click File, Save As, PDF. Let's name the file Password Secured in the Chapter 7 folder. When you're ready, click Save. Once the file is saved, you won't be able to modify the file any longer. If you click Tools and open the Pages panel, you'll notice that most of the tools are grayed out. Close the file. Now try to open it. You can click on the link in the Recent Files list if you want. Acrobat will prevent you from opening the file without the proper password. Enter CBA on purpose. Click OK. Acrobat informs you that the password is incorrect. Go ahead and click OK to continue, and now enter the password properly, ABC. Click OK. The file will open, but you still won't be able to edit the file or its contents. The permissions password is actually more powerful than the open password. Close the file again. Click the name in the Recent Files list to open it, but this time enter the permissions password, 123, and click OK. The file opens like before, but this time you're allowed to fully edit the contents. Notice that most of the tools are active. The lesson you should pick up from this is simple. Don't tell anybody the permissions password. To remove password security from the file altogether, select File, Properties, click the Security tab, and choose No Security from the Security Method pull-down menu. Click OK to continue. If you only have an open password, the security will be removed immediately. If you have a permissions password on your file, Acrobat will prompt you for the permissions password. Since we've already entered the permissions password, the security has been removed automatically. Click OK to apply your changes. Password security is good if you're working alone or you need to lock files in specific workflows. But when you work in a group, simple password security can be very limiting and potentially dangerous. How do you lock a file with only one password, but allow other people in your workgroup to open it? You can't. That means you have to tell someone else your password. If one person knows, then it's likely more people will find out too. In the next lesson, I'll show you how you can lock a file so that everyone in your workgroup can open it, but you'll never have to share your password with anybody else. Password level security is good for simple workflows, when you're working alone and you don't need to share documents. But it's very limiting when you have to work with 2 or more people. How do you secure a document with one password without telling your coworker what the password is? In this lesson, we'll explore a powerful but little-known method for securing documents using digital certificates. Whenever I demonstrate this method, people are stunned to find out that it's been around for a long time, but few people know about it or know how to use it. By using your digital certificate and the certificates of your coworkers, you can lock a file without having to share any passwords, and only the workers in your workgroup will be able to open the file. The first step in this process is to gather the digital certificates from each person in your workgroup. We did this in Lesson 1 of this chapter. Open the file, Certificate, from the Chapter 7 folder. This is our latest ad campaign, and we're trying to keep the campaign secret for the time being until it's released. So we're going to secure this ad so that only the people in our workgroup can open it. Select the File menu and choose Properties. Click on the Security tab. From the pull-down menu, choose Certificate Security. The Certificate Security Settings dialog box will open. Acrobat allows you to save the settings you're going to create. It refers to the settings as a policy. This is a good idea if you plan on using the settings regularly. For this lesson, make sure that Discard these settings is selected. As with password security, you can choose how you want to encrypt your data. You can encrypt all the document contents, or encrypt all the document contents except the metadata. This allows users to search for a file using the metadata such as author, title, as well as the keywords saved within the file itself. Or you can encrypt just the file attachments, such as the Word and Excel files that created the PDF file in the first place. Typically, I like to encrypt all the document contents except for the metadata. This allows everybody in the workgroup to be able to find the files within our server. Next, you need to choose your encryption algorithm. If you have users using Acrobat 7 or earlier, you may need to choose one of the other available options. For our workflow, let's choose Acrobat 9. When you're ready, click Next. Your own digital ID should already be in the list. If you have additional IDs, you can click this option. If this is your only ID, you may want to choose Always Use this digital ID. Click OK when you want to continue. In this window, we can add the other members of our workgroup. Click Browse and navigate to the desktop to the Chapter 7 folder. Unfortunately, you can only add one certificate at a time, so go ahead and click one and open it, and then browse back to the Chapter 7 folder and get the other one. Unlike password level security, where you can only select one level of security for everyone, using this method you can assign different levels of security for each person. Select Tammy and click Permissions. This dialog box warns that although Adobe products enforce the restrictions of your security settings, other applications may not. By default, each certificate gets the same level of security as you do. All the users are equal unless you restrict their access rights. Let's give Tammy the ability to print the document and to make comments. Click OK when you're finished. If you want to take someone's certificate off the list, you can click Remove. To check specific information pertaining to a certificate, you can click Details. When you're done in this dialog box, click Next. When you're ready, click Finish to apply the security settings. As with password security, the certificate security settings will not be applied until after you save and close the file. You can continue changing the security settings until you close the document. Go ahead and click OK to continue. Now click OK to return to the document. Choose File, Save As, PDF, and let's save the file as Certificate Secured. Click Save when you're done. When Acrobat's finished saving, go ahead and close the file. Let's open the file again. You can click on the name in the recent file list if you want. Acrobat will prompt you for the certificate password you created in Lesson 1. When Tammy or Ken try to open the file, Acrobat will prompt them for their passwords. This file is now secured using all three of the certificates from your workgroup. Go ahead and enter your certificate password. If you entered your password correctly, the file should open and give you full access. When you send this file to your coworkers, they will be able to open it using their own passwords. No one has to share passwords, which maintains strict security throughout the entire process. At some point, you may want to remove the security policy from this file. To remove certificate security, open the File menu and select Properties. From the pull-down menu, select No Security. Go ahead and click OK to continue. And click OK to close this dialog box. When you save this file, the certificate security will be removed. Although it takes longer to apply and configure, certificate security is vastly superior to password security. Clearly, in workgroups of 2 or more people where you have to share secured files, certificate security is the only way to go.